Hi, John Wanoa here, Otahu, Auckland, New Zealand. Today is Saturday, the 10th of December 2016. I'm just following up a email and letter I sent to John Key, Prime Minister of New Zealand. You're now served the Levy Debtor instrument, pound note. That's the Moai Crown King William IV pound note. So now we will get a reply back from the British military or British Secretary of Defence, Michael Fallon. I'm sending an email to him shortly of what has just happened yesterday with you, John Key. I'm fixing it in time, the debt bill for your crimes that have been committed while you're still Prime Minister till Monday, the 12th of December 2016. So I'm catching you and snapshotting the video in time, this video and the letter I'm just about to read to be on this video as evidence in the High Court of Admiralty in London and also in the native court here, the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court on the treaty grounds in Waitangi, and the British ship of Admiralty in the paddock, the mast with our flag on it, and the British flag and the Union Jack New Zealand flag. Now I'm tying the first title to Kororareka Russell, Captain James Reedy Clendon, HMS His Majesty's Ship Fortitude, King William IV, reign as monarch, 1830 to 1837. Acts of Westminster Parliament applies in our court. So we can pull out the financial martial law, and that's going on you in this pound note, John Key. The pound note and the invoice from ANAX, Invoice Company in London, have got it now on receipt. That's on Facebook as well, is admissible evidence in the High Court of Admiralty in London, and in our Waitangi Marae Native Court as well is acceptable in there, or admissible as our evidence on our native land. Now you'll notice that I've made statements about Chief Hongi Hika and Chief Tira Waikato Whara Here Here Manukau. Tira Waikato Whara Here Here Manukau was instrumental. That chief was instrumental in drafting the native titles in the period of time he was in Cambridge, England, learning English and land law and transactions of native land. And so that's where that part of our native title was installed into the ships of Admiralty, Navy ships, and sail around the world in other indigenous native countries under that precedent case, with our titles here through King William IV and our flag here with the 8-point stars on it as current still under the Salic Law. I put some more things on Facebook of Salic Law, and it states there clearly that Ernest Augustus, King Ernest Augustus IV, the brother of King William IV, carried the King of Britain title and Hanover, and so his son, King Ernest Augustus V, is our reigning monarch for our documents of title between here in that Waitangi Marae King's Bench Court straight to Westminster Parliament, and I've written a letter to Theresa May, Prime Minister of Britain, UK, and I'm going about to read it to you, and so that you can see and hear what I'm saying on a video, in case you miss it on documents that are here, there and everywhere. I have to pull them together in one place because there's so many cases to do in the fraud part of Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II's reign, monarch, outside of Salic Law in the Queen of England title. So the Queen of England title in the Queen's Bench Court has really corrupted and defrauded all of the people in the indigenous lands and all those who live on it, right throughout the Commonwealth world, the 75 countries. So what we're doing here is to separate the Queen's Bench Court from the King's Bench Court and put the correction right. In the title, under Salic Law, male line only succeeds to the throne of Hanover and Devon, England, where King William IV's memorial is to Hanover. Okay, so that particular court in Plymouth, the King's Bench Court, is where I'm going to take our partnership from King William IV in Waitangi Marae as a native court sheriff and the jury, the native court jury and judges, to Westminster. Just to let you know, Theresa May, I'm just going to read your letter in the email. After yesterday I had notified John Key and he sent back his email receipt of having received it in his government mail. So now I'll read the letter to you. Oh, that's Michael Fallon's. Written a letter to Michael Fallon, the Secretary of Defence, and that covers the Navy, of our partnership with the Navy, the British Navy, and I will be writing to Philip Jones, the Air Marshal and Chief of Defence of Navy, because that really is our legal partner in this contract, with our flag here as the receipt of that contract, 182 years of sovereignty of our own and this British flag. I'm making this flag work for us now because it wasn't legal before. The government of New Zealand took the legal out of it and put their own legal, I'm assuming, in it so that they could use it for their admiralty or not. I'm yet to do an audit, Theresa. I want an audit on the New Zealand Treasury and their BNZ Bank that picks up the money to send to the Queen through the BNZ Bank in London, from the BNZ Bank in New Zealand, and from the BNZ there into the Akaroa Bank, which is our native chief's whakamininga bank. And I'm taking stock of that as creditor and sheriff to investigate that with our jury and our court jury, native court jury and judges, 2 native judges and 6 court jury coming over to Westminster. So Theresa, I'm hoping that you will set up a meeting for us and accommodate us in safety from here to there under the British Navy Protectorate. This is a Protectorate flag. It's still current. We have not changed our contract with King William IV, and from 1834, the 20th of March 1834 is the date of your first anchor in our land and proclamation that the land belongs to His Majesty the King of England, King William IV, at that time. And so Captain James Ready Clendon hops off his ship of Admiralty, then throws his anchor into the soil dry land, then makes his proclamation. He also used this flag as the flag of New Zealand on that date because the chiefs were putting the flag together with their native government. And so that's where the British government started off in Kororareka, Russell. Theresa May, I'm just telling you the story in front of the whole world watching these videos that I'm making this connection back to you in unbroken sovereignty of our own to King William's sovereignty. Britain tied together in a dual government with a native and a British government dual law. The difference between British and our native law is that we're still applying the 1830 to 1837 Acts of Westminster Parliament, and we change or alter it or delete it from this point on, this date that we opened up the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Court, Native Court, Theresa, on the 15th of April 2016 this year. Myself as Sheriff, Chief Kingi Taurua as the commercial landowner, native landowner, under this flag of jurisdiction, and myself as the Sheriff Creditor, and our jury that was present with at least 2 chiefs and the rest of a Maori government set of people to witness that event. It's a grand jury hearing against one Prime Minister John Key and one Queen Elizabeth II as her business that he's running inside that marae with the Maori iwi tribe, which is her tribe. It is not our Moai Hapu tribe. Just to put that right, Theresa, I'm separating the New South Wales government, John Key's New Zealand government, Maori iwi title of no status or proof of existing title as against the Moai, Tahitian, indigenous, native, Hapu, sovereign title under this flag inside the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court. So I'm identifying ourselves before we come to Westminster to meet you to audit the books of HM Treasury and to audit the Akaroa Bank, our native bank, and to audit the BNZ Bank in New Zealand and the BNZ Bank in London, and audit the set of accounts of HM Treasury and Queen Elizabeth II and all her Crown corporations, alliances and parties to her monarchy reign that is corrupted the whole system through the world, including America. It's corrupted with ISIS and CIA, terrorist organization, with the Saudi Arabias with her, and Israel. Those that are responsible for the 9/11 bombing and the missing gold from Fort Knox is in Philippines, where the Queen wants to grab it for herself and her elite royal family. That's the point in question I want investigated. Theresa May, as Brexit, the new government in Britain, with the formation of what's left from EU Parliament exit as a conflict of interest with Queen Elizabeth II inside as Jesuit Queen Elizabeth II Jesuit organiser of the EU Parliament for her own private investment interests as a private person, that's stealing 1 million metric tons of gold, of which 200 200,000 metric tons is missing from Fort Knox in New York bombing. I believe it's in Philippines, and there's 400,000 tons there, plus the 200 from Fort Knox. That's 600,000 metric tons of gold, Theresa, that belongs to us, me and you, and our partnership with this Navy, Admiralty, mortgage, lien, bank instrument, commercial contracts that have allowed custom seized property as King's prize possessions and King's royal revenue shipped out of one place to the other in gold and other minerals and property the King says he owns, the Queen says she owns. So by default of the Queen's abandoning ship of Admiralty in Westminster and going into EU Parliament, set up a conflict of interest between our contract, the Treaty of Waitangi, 1840. She has broken that treaty contract, and it's fraud anyway. It's got no end date on it, Theresa May. Contracts have to have an end date on it. If it hasn't, it's not legal. And our 1834 contract with the British. There is another contract with the 1835 part of this flag in New South Wales, Australia and New Zealand. Government John Key's government Wellington and Parliament is running off this flag that gave them their sovereignty to operate, because this is the founding documents of this country. At that date, the 20th of March 1834, Captain Clendon proclaimed the land belongs to the King of England. That's the title I am going on as we native claim and proclaim the land belongs to the native and not the King or the Queen. So we're squaring the books of accounts, set of accounts, Theresa May, and we want full and final settlement on those banknotes. The big one, the 970 million trillion pound note, Theresa, you'll see it's the green one with my head on as a native Tahitian Moai, original Wanoa royal family. Wanoa royal Tahitian family from Raiatea and Rapanui in East Island, Rapanui to Mokanui on my homestead land blocks at the East Cape, Te Pito, from Te Pito there, the birth of New Zealand, to Te Pito, Easter Island, the birth of the world there. That is my title, and the Moai statue that Queen Victoria picked up in 1868 and took to London. That's my title to my chiefs here, Kingi Taurua, and the other chiefs that are coming with me are the right chiefs with the right surnames that are truly native as pertaining to the chiefs sitting under the Pohutukawa tree at Tingairi in Matauri Bay over the hill, is where they picked this flag amongst 4 flags to choose as our flag of New Zealand. The flag of New Zealand went from that date, 20th of March, to 1834, then it went to the 1835 Declaration of Independence, gazetted in Australia, the 28th of October 1835, so that's the Australian titles came in after your British captain title, and then it went to 1840 where they took it out and put the Admiralty flag or the Navy flag onto the top and put ours opposite your flag, the British flag, and our 1834 British flag. This is a British flag, Theresa. It is your country's flag that was given to us to sail around the world under British protection of our business and trade. We were trading long before that. But I'm saying that this, you're liable or obligated to protect us, to make sure I get there with all the evidence and all the titles and information stacked up, ready as proof who we are, to carry on with business in dual relationship. And I really want to bring your British Navy and Military and Air Force here to my land blocks at Rangitukia on the 7B block on the Waiapu River mouth. It's 30 kilometres long for the big aircraft to land. So that's my offer to you, to come straight in there to look after the whole Pacific Islands, which comes under this flag as well. The Moai founding doctrines of discovery title is that Moai in all the powerful countries, France, Belgium, New Zealand here, Dunedin and Auckland, and also in Chile, Singapore, France and England. Okay, so it's our title to be there to talk with you in trade for this whole Pacific Islands, rather than the Queen doing what she's doing with Obama and Clinton and trying to force people off the land and force everybody. Is not our law. We're going to take that out, Queen out. I'm going there, Theresa, as the trustee, head trustee of the Queen Victoria Trust, to sack Queen Elizabeth II, because we've done a investigation of the trust and found it to be corrupted and defrauded of us and New Zealanders here and the rest of the world, where all the ISIS and all the bad things are going on between her and Pope Francis and the Black Pope, Adolfo Nicholas Pachon. I've got a lot of articles online, Theresa, you can see on 68 Facebook sites. All the documents I have are legal. They are enforceable. They are authentic with the seal of King William IV and Moai statue. Those two memorials to the land and to our commerce between Britain and here New Zealand, Aotea, New Zealand. Okay, so I make myself clear that we want you to open the way for King Ernest Augustus V to succeed to the throne and replace Queen Elizabeth, because he's the King of Britain, UK already. Now, it won't be Queen of England or anything like that, because it's changed. It's more running British and European parliaments, not England's parliament. So we're going as another party into Westminster as the Moai King William IV party, and that's where we're going in with Matt Taylor. He's the leader of that party, and he's SOS Independent Party in Brighton. So he is the secretary of our company registered in London, the company's house, Moai Powerhouse Group Limited Company. Okay, so that's our company set up there for the Moai Tidal Turbine Power Project. Theresa May, that's another thing I want to come there and talk to you about, because the plan, I've held it off till we got our Admiralty flag legalised on the 16th of April 2016. We had the court hearing inside that Waitangi Marae on the treaty grounds with not a problem, because we have we are holding the titles. That's why the Waitangi National Trust government company allowed us to go in there to do our business, because that's our right, our inheritance right, to go in there on the land that Kingi wants back in his hapu. And I say the marae has got all my carvings in from my Ngāti Pro people inside that marae. So he says, it's your marae. And I says, it's your land. So we're making a statement here that we're seizing that property back into the King's Bench Court, Theresa, in London, and here, the King's Bench Court in all the district courts throughout New Zealand, and all the district courts for that matter throughout the world, with this flag flying. Okay, so it represents your government and your country, Theresa May. This is your British flag, but it gives us the right to be native and trade. We are experienced in business on a international commercial trading bank level with the Moai King William IV pound note. Okay, we have the rights to print the pound note from King Tawhia and Chief Tira Waikato Wharaherehere Manukau, who went to England in 1820, Theresa. He was there for a while learning English and land titles, transactions, and that's the title that's gone around the world over all the other indigenous native lands, and with the Admiralty ship in the Navy, okay, with their captains. I'm here as a captain of King William's ship, Theresa, talking for King William IV until King Ernest Augustus V is nominated and goes straight into Westminster Parliament and take his place. He's got a long line of male Salic Law forbidding women from succeeding to the throne. And so that's what we go by. Our tikanga Moai law is male bloodline dominant. Okay, I'm saying that flat out right here. It's the same as Salic French law, male line dominant in kings. Okay, the king of commerce is the Salic law I'm talking about. As a commercial landowner, Kingi Tauroa chief is ready to go. We're ready to go with a big bag full of documents here, Theresa, with all the original titles to British titles. Okay, so that we can square the books. That's what I want. I want you to call a meeting with us to get us there, and there'll be at least 16 of us, and we'll need British security to be here to escort us straight to Britain and put us up there somewhere, so we can sort out the missing gold, the 1 million plus metric tons of gold that belongs to our Queen Victoria Trust, and our bank, how it's been running and where all the money has gone and come and gone. And I want to audit the federal state government. I see Donald Trump is shutting down the federal state government. That's the Queen's business, because it's full of fraud, and all that money that Obama got and spent on himself extravagantly as not a very good businessman, but he's caused all the wars and killed too many people with his CIA and FBI crooked people. So they're running under the Queen's title, Theresa. Everything that the Queen has touched has been fraud. We are taking it back, the titles back. We're the ones that are the partners of your Navy, because it's the Navy that puts the titles on the land, and we're going straight to the Navy because we're investigating where all the Navy put our native titles, and we're seizing the whole lot, Theresa, and putting it back into the King's Bench Court, in all the courts in the world, under the British land laws of England system. We're applying the British land laws and the pound note on our land here as modelling on a template and precedent case. I want to make myself clear for the record here in the courts here and the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court and on the High Court of Admiralty, Chancery, Exchequer, courts in London, Rolls Building, Fetter Lane. For the record there, David Lindsay Mackey has a record of one land block at least here on 1 bar 61 Cook Street or 77 Cook Street. That property be seized, as well as Portiki Rua Ki Waipu boundary area, the whole area at the east coast on my land blocks in my Uetaha Chief's boundary area is seized of, and Kingi Taurua's Chief's Waitangi blocks and Titi blocks seized of back into the King's Bench Court, Theresa. That's just the start. There are other land blocks we want seized back as well, but that's a start. The Cook Street, the Portikirua Ki Waipu boundary area, the whole boundary area in East Coast, and Kingi Taurua's land of his chiefs of Rahiri back into the King's Bench Court. I've got all the documents set up, and when we write our documents, Theresa, that's our own handwriting and our own fashion of writing. It is our business in private with you. It is no one else's business. Admiralty is private business between me and you. Me and the Navy, Philip Jones, Air Force Commander and Chief of the military in Britain, is our partner, responsible to us in this contract with you in trade and banking, and you share the recovery of all that forfeiture property that we're seizing back with the search and seizure warrants that we put together here and right on the pound note. The pound note is written on, and that figure sticks. So, Theresa, that big 970 million trillion pound note is to cover all the fraud in the world of the Vatican City, private business, Buckingham Palace, private business, the City of London, private business, the Bank of England, private business, the Akaroa Bank, private business, the BNZ, private business, US Federal State, private business, Washington DC, private business, Church and State, right through the world, private business, Church of England, private business, Catholic Church, private business, elite corporations, crown corporations, private and personal business, and corporate trusts are all included in that pound note, the green one, with Jamie Patrick Stewart, Patrick, St. Patrick, order, New World Order, that's her name, Patrick. She's my secretary, private secretary, coming with me. So she has a right of that St. Patrick's Order Church in Dublin, where my ancestors come from, the Cosgroves. That's my family, Theresa, the Cosgroves, and they were lawyers. And my other family is the Rogans from Scotland and England, the judges in the courts here in Australia. Okay, so just to give you an idea why I talk like this and why I'm writing law, and also Jamie has got a fair measure of law investigation in your police force there, right? The Scottish police force, Scotland Yard. Okay, that's the Stewart family, part of her, and the land titles of the Manukau Land Company, Theresa May, is in Scotland, Glasgow. We're going there to check those titles here and are matching up the titles of the British government and Parliament from Glasgow. The Manukau Land Company is a Scottish land company with that name over the Manukau titles here in this country, for the whole country and Chatham Islands, comes under that title, Theresa May, and this Chief Tira Waikato Wharaherehere Manukau, a Waikato chief. Okay? That's where the Manukau Land Company comes from. It's matching up, and I'm there to stand for them because their family doesn't know all this stuff. Their old man, Mohi Manukau, Te Mati Manukau the Fourth, left me part of the historic land titles because the Rogans, judges, married his family, the Manukaus, and Dick Rogan, married Waitangi Wanoa, my family, on my land blocks at the East Cape, Gisborne area, district area, and the Bay of Plenty area, married into my family, and John Rogan, judge, married Marae, Manukau, in the Kaipara, Helensville area, where that two connection is, and the Moai has the Moai statue, spirit title to God's planet. That's that title, and the Manukaus have the LAW title to the land. Okay, Moai spiritual, LORE, law, truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. That everything I tell you, Theresa May, is the truth. No one's refuting anything online and anything on videos, everything I say, and even the police here, CIB, Criminal Investigation Bureau, Theresa, lost the case against me in the land case on Cook Street. I can seize it any time now, but I'm backing in with the whakamininga chiefs, which have a part to play on this major British title. With that title is a British title, that Cook Street is gifted land. But when the British came here, they seized all the New South Wales titles off all the northern regional titles and the south titles. They were selling the titles here without sovereignty of this country's own, Theresa. They were using Australian sovereignty to sell all the lands, and the British came along and seized the whole lot. We're seizing the whole lot again, Theresa May. We're seizing them all again, then reissuing them with British title. Okay? We're taking the mortgage out of the titles one by one and catching out all the 4 people running here from America to hide all their money stolen through the Queen's administration. Okay, the Queen's administrators, we're auditing the books. We want full and final settlement and seize everything from John Key. I've made the statement on another video to him that we're seizing all his property in Hawaii, in Netherlands, in wherever else here, use them. Wherever else he has invested money, he loses the lot because of his fraud and corruption of the Panama Papers, for one thing, and violating our flag law of the land of the native chiefs when he signed up contracts here to sell this place out with TPPA. Those countries, those 12 countries, are liable. They get the pound note bill, the £1 trillion each person is liable, who we say is a fraud. They have to prove they're not. That's where we're catching them. John Key cannot answer in the court. Even if we took him to court, we don't have to take him to court. The King doesn't have to haul him into court, Theresa. We just tell him he's guilty as charged. If he doesn't reply or respond to what I've just accused him of online, and people are reading, he loses. He loses if he doesn't reply to my accusations that he's a fraudster and conspiracy to defraud the people of New Zealand with his own private investment interests ahead of the people of New Zealand, and especially the chiefs of the tribes here in the whakamininga. Now I'm just separating the Confederation of Chiefs and the incorporations. under the 1835 Declaration of Independence of this flag because they have their right to administer their land with the New South Wales government. They cannot come in this court, the Waitangi Marae court. They have to stay in the Titi Marae, bottom Marae, Theresa. There's two Maraes of legal status. The Titi Marae has the 1840 contract, the obelisk, the 1840 Treaty of Waitangi Agreement on that marae. That's where John Key should be, not on the other marae. That's a real marae on the other side. That happens to be my own carvings in there, my property carvings inside that marae, Theresa. So in the Waitangi marae, we are straight to Britain. They cannot mix. If anybody tries to shortcut, check their surname first, Theresa, because you'll find a lot of Maoris are jumping ship and trying to get ahead of me and Kingi Taurua with their surnames. And you check each Maori name. Epiha is Epping. You see, he's from Sussex. That's where his parents, his father and their father's father are in Epping, Sussex, England, to Epping, Australia, New South Wales. You see, that's those people on Maori, because the Maori is invented. It's made out of thin air in 1945 war period to make Maori land titles, then cut it all up and sell it. So John Rogan was a Maori land court judge to administer the lands and reissue them again, and after they've got seized. Those are the titles I'm going on, Theresa. So I'm going to read your letter. So I want to do this in front of everybody so that people don't go online. They can watch the video at least. It's publicly notified internationally and domestically here in New Zealand and Pacific Islands, Australia. Okay, so here we go. Moai Powerhouse Group Limited, London, UK, registered company, and Ngātua Ewa Aotea Limited, 07B 16 Park Avenue, Otahu 1062, Auckland South, New Zealand, Pacific South. That's the New Zealand registered company. So that company, Theresa, that I've just said, Ngātua Ewa Aotea Limited, is one of a trillion shares in that company, registered here in New Zealand. It's split into billion share companies in other countries, 250 countries on our website, where we're splitting off this money as to humanity, as what some suggest. We're not saying it that way. We're saying it belongs to the people who come to join Moai. Moai is for everyone, on equal footing terms with you, Theresa May, in Britain. We're modifying the whole structure of trade under this trade flag. Okay, this is a trade, commercial trading, the only King's trading flag in the world of commerce, and the King of the Sea, Admiralty, court-martial law, and Admiralty financial martial law, which means stick 'em up and we take no questions asked. Okay, it's forced law that Obama's abusing and Hillary Clinton abused. They're abusing the law now and writing law of it as if he's a king. We reverse all of that. If the other governments in America, you've got the Commonwealth government, you've got the state government, and you've got the federal government. The federal government is Queen's business, private. You see, he can do what he likes, but not with us. We'll put an end to that. When Trump goes in, Theresa, I'm going to tell you this before I read the letter. Donald Trump got an invite from the Crooked Queen to visit Buckingham Palace. Why would you think he was going to get invited to go there? It's just come out of nowhere. Well, I can tell you, he's going there because they're making a deal between the two of them about the gold. Okay, so he's saying to her, no, I want you to come in June. And then Trump's got a better idea because he's a businessman, business. He says, the gold is in the Philippines. That belongs to someone. So it looks like no one's claiming it, so we're going to go and snap it, because Karen Hudes, the attorney for the World Bank, has been talking about exposing all that gold. That's where I get all the gold figures and all the OPPTS figures on what I got the 970 million trillion from. And so Donald Trump thinks, I'll go to Philippines, because he already knows that's where the 200,000 metric tons of gold have gone out of the Fort Knox in New York and gone there to hide in the Philippines with the other 400 that's there already from the King and Queen of Spain, who is the head, the trustees in our Queen Victoria Trust, right? So they're holding it there, and they've abdicated to their son, the Filipino son, Philippi, right? King Philippi and his wife, the King and Queen of Spain, not Philippines. So they've conveniently held that gold there, but they're the new son, King and Queen of Spain, are not trustees. It's still the King and Queen of Spain we're holding to account. We're holding them, we're investigating them, you and me, Theresa May, and Michael Fallon, the Secretary of Defense. It has to come under the Navy. It has to come under Philip Jones, Chief of Navy. He's the one that's our partner, really, on our documents. He is our legal, legitimate, commercial, trading bank partner. He's the one that said the land belongs to the king. That's it, Theresa. So I want you to set up a little place. I'm not frightened of board meetings, because I've been self-employed for a long time, about 28 years. So I'm ready to go straight into Westminster and take my place there as the head of the Queen Victoria Trust, and to audit all the books to find where it's all gone missing, and arrest all those and seize all the property with this flag flying on the ships, the planes, the boats and the trains all over the world. Free passage flag, Theresa. It is a free passage flag. We've already legalized it on that Marae to put its legal back in it. We're using it by force of financial martial law acts inside those King William IV acts. So Donald Trump has cut short his trip in June to go and meet the Queen and go straight to Philippines to pick the gold and cut it up into little wafers to use as money, gold money, to replace their crooked fiat US dollar fake fraud money scam. Okay? So he's stealing the money out of the gold. That's our trust. He can't prove where he got it from. He can't prove whose authority shipped it there. And he can't prove who blew up the Twin Towers and took that gold, shifted it from there, and shipped it under a bill of lading Admiralty. This ship of Admiralty flag can go and investigate all those Vice Admiral authority jurisdictions. Theresa, this is the Admiral of the ship of commerce, right through the world. Okay, so now we go and get the Scotland Yard, the new one, not the old one because it's crooked. We've got to start again and recruit, boot out whoever out of Westminster that's in the EU and sack them into the EU and get them out of there. That's my job with this flag of Admiralty over the laws of the Lords. The Lords have come under the King and Ernest Augustus. I'm putting Ernest Augustus ahead to go in and replace the Queen with his straight line monarchy, sovereign status to keep England and Britain together. Right back to William the Conqueror, right back to King Solomon, right through that bloodline. Okay, so the Queen is the wrong bloodline, and Prince William and Prince George comes down the female line, which is Salic Law, or French law, Salic Law, forbids a Queen's line from coming into the King's Bench Court and the Kings of Hanover and Britain. Right? You're a Britain, you're not England, you're not the government of England, you're the government of Britain. That's King Ernest Augustus is already a King of Britain, UK, Hanover. That's what Queen Victoria couldn't get. She couldn't get the title, even though she's a Hanover, she's not male. That's why she couldn't succeed down the female line. Okay, I'll just put it on Facebook for people to see our evidence of who we are in this whole mix of commercial trading and the banknotes and King William's gold coins. We're going to make King William's gold coins, or platinum gold coins plate. In the new Moai pound note, gold pound note, and digital pound note, and water money currency for the hydrogen from the tidal energy projects, Theresa, that we're using this seized money to go and build all over the world to make the jet fuel, rocket fuel from seawater to power up all the aircraft, the hydrogen powered British Latcat A2 aircraft. This will get it going. You and I will get that going. Right, straight contracts. I'm a contract man in real estate. Theresa May, I'm experienced land agent, real estate, and mortgage broker, bank broker. That's my experience, as well as an engineer and land investigator of land titles as the land commissioner. I'm the native land commissioner inside that Marae. Theresa, you can see, looking at the documents I put out, they're matching up. They are real and should not be sneered at. And I think you already know that. So Donald Trump goes to Philippines because now the Queen's saying come to see her in late next year. That means he's got a whole year to conjure up our trust goal fund, Theresa. That's you're the other partner in this goal that the Queen's stealing to take back into Europe in her remote government, remote meaning a remote control government that has no basis of its original sovereignty. Okay, it's a nothing. It's just a remote control sponge. That's what I call it. It sucks up all the goodness of others, countries, and then tries to control them with that. You see, they can't say it's their own countries they are running. Okay, they make them subject to their elite club, where all these pedophiles and crooked monsters are. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We're going to head off that trust and seize all the gold with the British military. Okay, I want to be there with the British military in that position of investigative duties as an ambassador to New Zealand and the rest of the world, as a floating ambassador to Britain, as native to here, as much as King, as Chief Tira Waikato Wharaherehere was in England setting up titles and written transactions for me to take over his job as being native to all native indigenous countries in the world from there, and clean slate, turf out the rubbish and the fraud and the pedophiles and all the crooked monsters and start fresh again. Okay, that's all I want to say. Now I'm going to read this out because I wanted this for everybody to hear. So here we go. I've just said the address of the two companies, and then we've got if your inquiries regarding Theresa's role as Prime Minister, then please email here or write to Right Honourable Theresa May MP, 10 Downing Street, London, SW1A2AA. Email mayt@parliament.uk. phone number 020-7219-5206, address Right Honourable Theresa May MP, House of Commons, London, SW1A0A8. Dear Theresa May, I served Prime Minister of New Zealand today, John Key, with his legal blue pound note, Moai pound note, Levy Debtor bill instrument, and his legal green pound note, Moai pound note, Levy Debtor bill instrument for John Key's government to give to Queen Elizabeth II against their entire estates and their Crown Corporation's agents we named and put on trial in our Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court on the day of Friday, 15th of April 2016. The sum of all the accused in the world where Queen Elizabeth II took our Queen Victoria Trust investment funds illegally and legally, that we now want to call up the account with you, the total amount we assessed here in our private contract with you, our legal partners, to that value, as they are both the persons accused, and assess the damages and injuries for 970 million trillion Moai pound note. I just flicked it off and I've lost it. I've got to go and look for, I've flicked the page up and I've just flicked it too fast. Trillion pound note, levy, debtor, bill, charge, note, and invoice. I put an invoice from ANEX, Invoice company in London, UK. Invoice, I put an invoice of 1,000 million trillion pound note, a blue one, to John Key and the government for the land seizure here in New Zealand, the whole lot. After that, ever, it's £1 trillion each person that commits an offence, and that backs onto the green note back to the Queen and all the other people I have accused, and my chiefs accused of defrauding the whole world. Okay, so all those other companies are in the pound note, the green one, and we're carving off bits out of it. An endless check, sort of, Theresa. So that's for you to consider, that that is a legal instrument of finance where we don't have to go and borrow money. It's there to seize if it's proven to be a fraud. And you'll find there's a lot of fraud all over the world. All those elite companies and all those tax havens are going to get caught with this pound note and this flag. Okay, you got it? Right. Moai note and invoice as Moai Powerhouse Group Limited corporate company in London, legal parties to the British Royal Navy at Devon Port, Plymouth, England. King William IV Yard. Memorial statue, Salic Law, forbidding woman to succeed to his throne, King of England, Britain, UK, and Hanover. I never got any response from either the Queen nor John Key. Now this levy charge bill is public notified for you, Theresa May, as a Prime Minister of Britain, UK, with your British Navy to make arrangements with myself, your legitimate native partner, in our Queen Victoria Trust and Akaroa Bank in London, and myself as the Moai King William IV Trust creditor, sheriff, to come and discuss this legal matter with my 1834 whakamininga, not Maori iwi, but Moai Hapu, native surname chiefs. So it's not just me, it's the chiefs with the right original native indigene surname, not a Maori name that's been made up. You have to define which is real and which is not. So we're going along with this native court on the day of 15th of April 2016, the sum of all the accused in the world where Queen Elizabeth II took our Queen Victoria Trust investment funds illegally and legally, that we now want to call up the account with you a total amount of 970 million trillion Moai pound notes. Okay, so I never got any response from the Queen or Jonki. Now this levy debtor bill charge is public notified for you. Theresa May, as the Prime Minister of Britain UK, with your British Navy to make arrangements with myself, your legitimate native partner in our Queen Victoria Trust and Akaro Bank in London, and myself as Moai King William IV Trust and creditor sheriff to come and discuss this legal matter with our chiefs. Okay, I've just gone over that twice again. Oh God, I've not missed this one. I'm flicking the page, but it's going too fast. The native surname chiefs come to see you and with me as soon as possible before the 6th of February 2017. New Zealand Waitangi Day, where we conduct our native court hearings again inside the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court on the Waitangi Treaty grounds, on Waitangi Treaty House, inside the Waitangi Treaty House, where your British shipmast flies your British flag, HM42 Captain James Reedy Clendon, 20th of March 1834. Opposite your flag is opposite our Maui Hapu Native Chiefs 1834 King William IV Admiralty flag of our private contract partnership in commercial trading bank and pound note creditors financial investment interest with you, Theresa May. Okay, I'm saying we're in this together. We both recover the funds. If I can get it myself, fine. But it'll all be accounting practices in London. Our office is in London. We've got an office in Brighton at the moment with Matt Taylor, but we will shift into London, not far from Westminster, with you, Theresa, as the Prime Minister. I'm hoping that you're going to be for the long run there with us. We're your partner to work with you in Westminster. So I need to go into Westminster, and I'm not frightened of politics. I used to be in the New Zealand First Party with Winston Peters here in Auckland in the early days of real estate, on and on I go. We have the authentic documents and doctrines of discovery titled to New Zealand and Pacific Islands under King William IV flag of the Indigene Whakamininga native chiefs to bring to Westminster and combine our 182 years of our own continuity of sovereignty with your legitimate King of Britain UK Hanover King Ernest Augustus V. We're swearing our oath to him, whom we appointed as the King of Britain UK Hanover, Aotea, New Zealand and Pacific Islands, Commonwealth countries of the world. Okay, we're nominating him as that. On the face of it, he's alive. Everyone's live. When we come to you, everyone that has a position in our native court and our administration is native. Okay, that's all we have to do is fit your part in your people in Britain to that. And we've got a trade deal. Okay, with this flag. The only flag that can go around in every corner of the earth and stay up and not put it down, put another one up. This one stays up. Okay, free passage, Theresa, through the will. Okay, King Ernest Augustus V, whom we appointed as the King of Britain UK Hanover, Aotea, New Zealand, Pacific Islands, Commonwealth countries of the world. New World Order. That's the New World Order of St. Patrick's. King William III, Theresa May, he put that together from Dublin Church, St. Patrick's Church in Dublin. That's where my family comes from, the Cosgroves, and Patrick, Jamie Patrick's family comes from there on the British side. Okay, Um, King Ernest Augustus V, we nominate him into Westminster straight away. He's already by default the King of Britain. There's no reason to go and crown him and everything. He's already got the crown ready to go in. Okay? He should have been in there ahead of anyone else from the Queen's side. He should have been there instead of the Queen. King surname, we are the native surnames. We check the surnames of who comes. Make sure they're all set in place before we come, because one surname out will throw the whole thing. His son Prince Regent Ernest Augustus 38. I'm just saying that we're the partners to King William IV and King Ernest Augustus V is 69. That's the one we're putting in as king. And his son Prince Regent Ernest Augustus 38. That's his age. The 20th of March 1834, direct descendants, and not Prince William, Spaniard, father, German family bloodlines. That's Prince William and Little George. They're coming down the female line. That it won't work in Salic Law. It won't, under the Salic French law of King William IV and Ernest Augustus, it doesn't work on that long line of unbroken sovereignty. The Queen has snapped off her sovereignty here in Australia, and that's the end of her. Where Salic law forbids him succeeding through his grandmother, this is Prince William, his grandmother to King William IV, or the living King Ernest Augustus V, our partner, inheritance of King William IV Admiralty jurisdiction and Queen Victoria Trust, Gold Trust Fund in Philippines, 400 metric tons of gold plus 400,000 metric tons of gold in the Philippines, plus 200,000 metric tons of gold stolen from Fort Knox in New York, 9/11 terrorist bombing by Obama Clinton administration, CIA, FBI, Saudi Arabia, Prince, Queen Elizabeth II monarch, sovereign, Israel, Netanyahu, and UN owned now by the Vatican's 193 armies, now liable for the carnage set up to steal the gold for their incorporations. Okay? When Captain Clendon on HMS Fortitude Admiralty flagship proclaimed our native lands and country belongs to the Sovereign of England, King William IV, under his jurisdiction at that date time memorial. I made orders in our Waitangi Marae native court for you, Theresa May, to recover the debts now due and payable in a full and final settlement, and to assist me as Sheriff to audit of our Queen Victoria Trust and our Akaroa Bank and BNZ Bank in New Zealand and Britain, UK, London, where money is transferred to our Akaroa Bank, then into gold accounts, land and other King's prize possessions of our financial investment in business with you, our partner, to protect our business. We are petitioning King Ernest Augustus V to the throne as King of Britain, UK, Hanover, New Zealand and Pacific Islands. We, the Whakamininga, native surname chiefs, political aim is to sack the Queen as head of our Queen Victoria Trust, while I take that position there as head trustee in her place as a Royal Tahitian Moai Royal Family Chief, and then sack the King and Queen of Spain and investigate and seize all the gold in Philippines, Switzerland, Vatican City, America, Hawaii, Britain, back into our Navy King's Bench Court with you and us. The Whakamininga judges, court jury and sheriff found PM Prime Minister John Key guilty as charged, now wish to fly to Westminster to meet with you to discuss this outstanding settlement call-up, the trust account bill, there with our legal partner and British Navy and you as creditors with Moai Crown, Sheriff myself, John Wanoa. PM Prime Minister John Key is involved within the corrupted fraud Panama Papers. He had a hand in with the TPPA and his failed flag change, legal issues, involvement with USA and the Queen's Trust business, while she is in a direct conflict of interest to our Queen Victoria Trust Gold Fund, why we want to meet you now to recover the corrupted Admiralty land mortgage titles, bank money, gold property and investments, Bank of England, legal claims and issues against yours and our interests, and claim in court against the New Zealand Treasury, BNZ, Aotearoa Bank accounts. We demand an audit and settlement of their trust accounts by you and the Whakamininga chiefs who completed our investigations against Prime Minister John Key natural name record of non-performance to run our country anymore. His name is on the wanted list for crimes record here as party to the fraud and corruption of our Queen Victoria Trust, Aotearoa Bank, King William IV, 1834 and 1835 Declaration of Independence flag, and our country's treasury accounts. I want you to have a business discussion. I want to have a business discussion with you to settle these accounts before audit based on our findings. We want to visit you as a diplomatic delegation of experienced native chiefs. The Queen corrupted our Queen Victoria Trust and Aotearoa Bank and financial investment interests throughout the world under our Moai Crown King William IV 1834 flag investment flag of financial martial law jurisdictions in default treason, corrupt trading bank and commercial law of the Sea of Admiralty practices. As creditor and native court registrar and surrogate King William IV native court sheriff, I charge Prime Minister John Key with a Moai pound note value of 1,000 million trillion and Queen Elizabeth to the other elite families, bankers, church and state, corporations and trusts, private and corporate businesses in total throughout the world of 970 million trillion pound note, equivalent British GBP, Great Britain pound, value for committing these mass crimes, murder and illegal land confiscations. A list is enclosed as a declaration of war using our flag and Queen and her Crown agents. Abuse, we want taken off them. Now we ask for your partner assistance. That's to remove the Admiralty from them, because the Pope destroyed all Admiralty law, Courier law, canon law, civil law and UCC laws. He destroyed them all so that you couldn't use them anymore because of all the fraud, but they're still using them. That's how I won my case, because I cited that they cannot use the UCC laws on me, all the Admiralty laws on me, and birth certificates and all of that. That's why I won my case against the Cook Street land that I'm seizing, Theresa. So this makes good the evidence that I'm saying into any court with this video. It's in its entirety. Chief Kingi Taurua is a direct descendant of King Edward and Queen Victoria as Chief Commander. That's his position, as Chief Commander, commercial land owner, right? Not native land owner, because we don't have things such as native land owner. They never own land. Okay, so we have him as a commercial land owner and me a commercial land owner of the Potiki, Rua, Ki, Waiapu, Hapu boundary areas of Uetaha Chief and Moai Crown. Okay, that's where the Moai is going to get stuck up on the land as a memorial to his daughter and to the one standing to you in London and the other one in France and Belgium, right? In Belgium. Commander who now wants Chief Kingi Taurua Commander who now wants his Waitangi and Titi land blocks back immediately. And I'm asking for your British Royal Navy and Air Force military to come here and set up a British military base on my family's Haho 7B ancestral land blocks at Waipu River mouth in Rangitukia. Stretches 13 kilometers, enough for the Russian 225 Andover to land on as a first gesture of goodwill, to continue your role on our King William IV flag as a British protectorate of our partnership business and financial investment interests. Okay? I note that Prime Minister John Key failed to invite your British Navy to his 75-year New Zealand Navy celebrations in November of this year, which is a snub on your British Navy, a snub on our legal partners in Admiralty Court-Martial law matters of international business, where our 1834 flag is ready to pursue with our major Moai tidal energy turbine projects to make hydrogen, jet and rocket fuels in mass production from seawater. I have that plan to bring to you right now, Theresa, without fail. It is all over Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, and shares that will boost the British government economically worldwide, with our Marae, King William IV flag sovereign authority, with you combined dual government, New Zealand, Britain, UK, as it still is 182 years this year, 20th of March 1834. Captain James Ready Clendon dropped his HMS Fortitude anchor into Chief King Taurua's native land and proclaimed it belonged to the King of England, King William IV, monarch sovereign authority. Rest his soul. He gave us the flag to protect our business. While it is fair to say we can have an 183-year British Navy celebration next year, 2017, with our free passage through the Royal 1834 King of England flag next year, pending the British Air Base and Navy ship operations here. I have already planned this all up for Britain here on my family land through King Ernest Augustus V, sovereign monarch, whom we swear our oath of office to. Theresa, we swear our oath of office, the chief, to him and his son. We swear our oath of office to Moai Memorial Statue standing in London, my own Wanoa Royal Tahitian Family Memorial, and swear our oath of office to King William IV Memorial in Devon, William Yard Memorial, and Plymouth King's Bench Court in Plymouth, England, courthouse linked to our Moai Crown, Waitangi Marae King's Bench Courthouse in Waitangi, New Zealand, treaty grounds. Swear our oath of office to our chiefs live here and gone through the Pacific Islands where we all came from. Since we charged John Key and Queen Elizabeth II in their court case on 15th of April 2016 in the Waitangi Marae King's Bench Native Court, we legalised our ruling Admiralty flag and King of Britain UK Ernest Augustus V authority in this Admiralty Court over their Vice Admiralty jurisdiction assumed authority. Chief King Taurua says that this Waitangi courthouse, Marae, sits on his ancestors' land as my own Ngāti Porou Marae, with your British ship of Admiralty flagship mast is occupying our native dry land, using its authority in New Zealand Navy against the Whakamininga Chief's land title interest, and you, our legal partner, is threatened now. So let us know to meet with us there in Britain to investigate foreclosure on these claimed titles and property recovery of debt back into the King's Bench Court in London and New Zealand. Sincerely, John Wanoa, Moai Crown, Waitangi Marae, King's Bench Native Court, Sheriff Creditor. That's me. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to say in this video. It's long enough now, but I just wanted to make a plain statement to you in front of the whole world watching all the videos we put together, that we have our own unique native sovereignty of our own authority with you in trade business, as it was supposed to be. It didn't happen that way because the Rothschilds screwed up Queen Victoria and her family and made the business for themselves. Okay, it was the Rothschilds that screwed the Bank of England over to themselves, then went and abused our Admiralty financial martial law for their own private business investment interests and not ours. The flag was supposed to be used for our trade and investment to build ourselves, and John Key's government, sadly to say, took it to the elite and ran their own business, and we've caught them out. We've caught them out, and Donald Trump, warning to you, this video, do not touch that gold in the Philippines. It belongs to our trust, and the British military has to get it back into our trust, and the President, Duterte, of Philippines gets his share for looking after it. Okay? To you, President Duterte of the Philippines, you got to deal with us, mate. We're going to make sure that you get just reward for your people for going through and being poor still and not being able to touch that gold, because these thugs and pirates have taken it and used it as security for their funny money that they've spun in. All the banks are going to get the bill. The banks are the other one, Theresa, that gets the bill cut out of that 970 million trillion pound note. When you spin over 2,000 plus interest on the dollar, that's how much money they made. They've spun up 2,000% on a single dollar. They've made more than $10 out of $1 through money that's not there in all the banks in the world. Okay, that's the part that we're building the banks and bankrupt them. And Bailey's Real Estate, I warned you, do not sell Cook Street, otherwise you're going to get stung with this, and you're going to get stung. You're going to lose everything. You're going to lose everything. That's going to go straight back into the King's Bench Court. The whole real estate, your whole business is foreclosed on, okay? Because you didn't listen to me, the commercial landowner of Cook Street. You went ahead and thought I was nothing. Not anymore. I've got the chiefs up north that is their contract with the British that got you on these lands, that got you on occupation land titles only. We're seizing them all back the same way as the British seized them all back in around 1868 and reissued them back to your crooked company again. And now we're going to seize it off you and run our own company over the top of yours. You're going to stay running your government until it's gone. We're going to leave you there and bleed you to death. And all your tax havens and all your companies that have got away with paying tax, your banks that have got away with paying tax, we're going to seize all the banks on the land. We just take the land and the buildings. Okay, that's it. Warned you. You wouldn't take me seriously. I'm just saying on this video to Theresa May, this is not a very hard job to sort out with you and your government, Brexit, and a new lineup of chiefs. It's best to be like Donald Trump, sack the whole lot. I'll tell you which ones to sack, because I can tell. I've been watching all the politics in Britain and USA and other parts of the world, but mainly those two, Italy, Israel, and all the countries that are getting all the money given to them for nothing, and all the hard work people losing all their money because of shoddy business practices using our Admiralty law. You're going to get it stung, Obama. You're going to lose everything. All that money you spend on yourself, all your houses. You've got about 6 houses in Dubai. We're going to seize a whole lot. We're going to force it all off you with this land, because you faked it. You faked it. And all the fake news is all around your business under the Queen. Right? You got that, Theresa May? The Queen is corrupted, and her whole family is corrupted, and corrupted Queen Victoria's title and our trust. We are still beneficiaries of that trust, We're still beneficiaries of that trust, and we have the right to sack her. That's what we're going there for, to sack her and install new trustee. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you later. The time now is 12:45, and time for me to go to the gym. And or no, I'll finish this off and send it to you so that it gets gone. Okay, bye for now.